It's California Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We are joined by two of my favorite ladies, if I may say. Nancy Johnson, she is a member of the Morro Bay City Council. She is joined by Carol Norton, who I've interviewed before. Are you the...
I'm the voice of the Morro Bay Garden Club.
The voice of the Morro Bay Garden Club. Before we talk about the Garden Club, let's talk about Morro Bay briefly. It is absolutely majestic. Where is it? And tell us about the Morro Rock.
Morro Bay is located right off Highway 1, about halfway between Los Angeles and San Francisco. Literally. A wonderful retreat for people who have hot weather, because ours is almost all year round in the 60s and 70s.
And as you're driving up to Hearst Castle, do you pass through Morro Bay?
You pass right along beside Morro Bay on the freeway, and it's a great place to get off and spend some time.
And the Rock would be there?
Yes, you go drive right down to the Rock, and you can pull up right where it is. There's a parking lot there. It's a great place to visit.
It really is a majestic place. And it's part of that majesty that brought you, Carol, to Morro Bay.
Right.
And explain to us why you believe that majesty helps Morro Bay become what has helped it become what it is.
Well, it's natural and it's beautiful, and people who come there, often from the valley with 110 degrees, or from LA or San Francisco with its very crowded freeways, love being there. And so they're very happy, and they volunteer to be in a lot of different nonprofit groups.
And that's part of why you're here today. Morro Bay has all of 10,000 people in it, and yet I know a few communities where as many people are involved in as many different organizations. It is a remarkable tribute to Morro Bay. What is it? What is it about Morro Bay that allows that? I mean, it's almost easier to be involved in a smaller community than a large city.
Well, the weather is marvelous, and it's good for people growing, and it's good for dahlia growing.
I love that you say people growing, because that is so important. Okay, I know part of the reason we wanted you to join us is to talk about an event that's coming on August 24th and 25th, right around the corner. It's called Dahlia Daze. Tell us about it. I mean, look at these beautiful flowers.
Well, the dahlia is the city flower of Morro Bay.
Of course it is.
And dahlias come in every size, from little bachelor button quarters to big dinner plates. And on the 24th, which is a Friday night, from 5 to 8, we'll have our first wine and cheese reception, featuring art in bloom with art from the Morro Bay Art Association and floral arrangements combined. And we'll have dance group, and we'll have raffles, and we'll have talk by the Elkhorn growers, which are all the way up in Prunedale, and they'll explain about the tubers. Tubers are the, shall we say, less than beautiful bulb type things that go in the ground in the spring, and then they produce at this time of year these marvelous flowers.
Why, Councilwoman, is Morro Bay committed to an organization like this? I mean, as I understand it, Morro Bay is a co-sponsor, the city.
The city co-sponsors the event. It was originally determined to be the city flower in 1964, when a man named Max Anders grew lots of dahlias and enjoyed displaying them. In those days, there were up to 10,000 people who attended the event.
The entire city and more.
From all over. There were people who competed from Kansas and all over the country. And then Max left town, and things kind of dropped off. And a few years ago, a wonderful lady named Grace Melton talked me into starting again.
Oh, no.
This was even before I was on city council. And so we talked to the City Rec and Parks Commission and the city council and got approval for the city to co-sponsor it. So they provide a lot of advertising and the facility that we are in.
And let's talk about gardening generally, because it is, I mean, you gave me some statistics that are pretty stunning.
Well, gardening is the most popular hobby in the United States.
The most?
The most, yeah. And gardening can be done by children, and when we had our little festival last week with the Morro Bay merchants, we gave children little paper cups they could fill up with earth, and then they could put a little succulent in there. And then people who are older can garden in pots, so they don't have to bend and lift. And dahlias are wonderful because they have all these varieties. And we will be selling dahlias on Saturday. And Joe Sable, who is a retired Cal Poly professor of horticulture, will be giving a talk on Saturday. Saturday hours will be 11 to 4, and instead of wine and cheese, we'll have fresh baked cookies and lemonade.
What is it about gardening that touches you?
Well, for me, it's very spiritual, because I can go out in the morning and look at some of the roses just budding and beginning, or tomatoes, which in the fog are special grown tomatoes, and they're there and they're blooming. It's very, very powerful. It's the universe talking to me.
Are you involved in gardening, Councilwoman?
Oh, I'm an avid gardener.
You are?
I'm not only do I garden, I'm a master gardener. I belong to the Santa Lucia County Master Gardeners, and I garden because it provides great stress relief from council issues.
Tell me.
It does. It's just getting out with the plants and the dirt, and it's a wonderful experience.
What do you garden?
Mostly flowers. Right now, dahlias, a lot of them.
Right.
But in the spring, in the fall, I plant tulips and daffodils, and we have a very big lot. We're really lucky. We have redwood trees and New Zealand tea trees, and right at this point, my husband and I are working together to redesign our garden, because when we started, it was very sunny. Now it's very shady, so we're replanting a lot of things.
What about gardening fruits and vegetables?
Oh, we have the most beautiful apples. We have 3 apple trees, and you grow great big apples like this in Morro Bay. And pears, we grow Asian pears that are kind of small. They're that big.
Quite a
and
lot of
peaches.
difficulty.
Oh, yes, it's wonderful.
My peach tree is very persnickety.
Peaches are persnickety.
Yes.
Help me, and the squirrels just won't relent.
Yeah.
Oh, I know how to get the squirrels to go away.
Go.
You just go to the store and you buy the biggest container of chili powder you can find. You sprinkle it on the ground around your plants, because they were digging up my tulip bulbs. And they scratch in that and they don't like it, and so they go away and bother somebody
at
else.
one point I put garlic on the tree.
Did that help?
For about a week.
Yeah.
For about a week, because the garlic, obviously, it stopped working, and so it was quite...
Well, and you do have to reapply the chili powder.
What about yourself?
Well, I have a lot of apple trees. In fact, they're falling off and they're not big enough. So what I've been doing is drying them. I cut them very thin and I put them in the oven at about 180 degrees for a few hours, and that way I can then refrigerate them or freeze them, and they're a good, crunchy, non-sugar, tasty, healthy snack.
Okay, so tell us is there a website we can go to for Dahlia Daze? How can we learn more about it?
It's morrobay.org.
Oh, it's on the city's website?
Oh, yes, it's on the city website.
I'm very impressed.
And
morrobay.org/events. Morrobay.org/events. Right.
And what's the other website? You mentioned it?
The Chamber of Commerce.
Which is?
Do you know that one?
It's okay. I'll put it on the screen.
I'm not sure.
Okay, so remind us as we conclude the date of the event, how we can get there.
The date of the event is Friday, August 25th from 5 to 8.
24th or 25th?
24th.
Okay.
24th. And Saturday, August 25th from 11 to 4. And it's on Surf Street at the Vets Hall. And let me mention that this is different from last year when we were up at the community center. But the Surf Street is right above the rock. And did you know that in the 19th century, people were just blasting the rock and using the rock to make foundations and to build? And finally, people in I think it was the Depression area, thought, wait a minute, this is, federal land and we're going to take care, and they stopped it.
That's good
and
to hear.
Otherwise, the rock wouldn't be the rock.
Amen to that.
Yes.
Nancy Johnson,
Still
I want to
there.
thank you so much for joining us. You are a member
You're
of the
so welcome.
Morro Bay City Council. Of course, Carol Norton, she is the Dahlia Daze chairperson. And thank you for keeping Morro Bay so beautiful and involved in all that kind of stuff. My name is Brian Pomerance. Thank you for watching California Edition.